mun na tai ulchiri to kipigeli sami. Tai.
Mauna iglu ang mayo kakolostui. Inyo iglu ko tingin upiok taktung na. Uyarok taman na anyarak pa. Niyok kangin yung saulong niya. Uyok mo. Nao ayong. Taman na ito gaba magkuna awla tau tinagit. Awla tau rak silid. Ukiok kakitsakas taktung mo. Tamani pa rak po. Awla tau ngitigi gaba magkuna inyuraw ka ma. Ikyang naktamyo rin laki kululu nga. Apo may iglo kakapagsuda, kang makakapagsuda. Kaya sa kulo ito pang nito pakalo kakapagsuda, iman na ito. Ilangan na aksyon ko na makikparong. Man na iglo mo aksyon ko na ito kaya ang ilok ito simit ko. Tamagkwaro siya lang maksado ko dahil kahit di man naging inyo kayo inuglaki pikaro kami. Ito sayo, lunuli ang tayo kung ito ako magdalak sinitino. Tayo man naulak sinang man. Man, nakayo man na kanya kulak sa mga sulit. Na inyuglat tayo na kung nakayo ako. Simik ko, lutaw ko, ako lutaw. Inyuglat ko ma. Ito kisiyat lang mo yung kabunado na iman na inyo kitlakayo ko. Siya nila magka sa lumaksaw yung nakuluktan na nuwadok ako lura katay suman ko. Ang may lang siya lumaksaw dyan siyang itaro na mga tinakulukat na video.
I knew that many priests had been there when life changed dramatically, so I decided to talk to one of them. Father Fournier, now in his 80s, agreed to tell me some of the things he had seen.
Do you remember what it was like when people came off the land and into houses?
The Inuit people, they become more and more dependent. This man, that is only one who said in front of the Inuit people, myself and my family, we have never been hungry. The manager of the Sombe, his politic was exactly that, and to keep the people out of the settlement.
What about the kids going to school?
That is that, when they built the school, so some family came with the children.
They want to stay with their kids.
But I think the majority regret they prefer to stay out of town.
Now what happens to family like this when they come to live in town? What happens?
No good. This one. He has a friend in Igloos. So when they move, because at the end they have to move, more for the school. So they moved to Igloos. That was okay because he has a friend. So they play cards for hours and hours and hours. Unfortunately, his friend died. He said he was absolutely alone. Absolutely alone. Because of that, he cannot follow conversation. So one day he take his knife and in front of everybody he cut his
throat.
Yeah.
A man, lonely and not used to settlement living, had killed himself, he told me. It was becoming obvious to me that the changes experienced by Inuit weren't simply an easy adjustment to settlement living and a better, modern way of life. And I wondered if these problems were still occurring today. I decided to ask Peter and a young social worker about it.
In Nunavut, for example, we have a lot of suicides in the community. 1 in 5 commit suicide in Nunavut.
To a degree, it's almost become normalized to say, you know, I think I think I want to kill myself, or I want to kill myself, or he's going to kill himself, or to the point where it has almost become an option. Once that occurred, now we've got more generations that have followed that are left in kind of, are hanging, basically.
This is because a lot of our young people today don't have a knowledge of their own history.
There's so many young people that don't know anything about where they're from, who they are, and what their family was up to.
I decided to see more of the history Peter was talking about. Did Inuit really need our patronizing help to adapt to settlement life? Hadn't they lived together in communities before? Peter took me to the ruins of Thule settlements, communities developed by Inuit and abandoned for smaller and scattered hunting camps, only after the Arctic went through a period of cooling centuries ago.
The beach on the other side, the rock, stone area, rock area, to haul one pallet each. There could have been about 2 families living here. From here you could see some whalebone used for walls, and in here too. So this is where the Thule expedition excavated thousands and thousands of pieces of artifacts. Each time you touch an artifact, it dies a little, eh? So I try not to touch the original bones. That's part of the formation, which was part of the walls.
This had once been an impressive community of very competent people. Obviously, Inuit had lots of experience with different ways of living in different kinds of homes. Wouldn't it be important for Inuit kids and Southern Canadians to understand more about and take pride in this rich and sophisticated experience? Could this help Inuit young people find their place in a modern world?
If they have that knowledge, the program that you have going with introduction of a film like this, moving from an igloo to the wooden house in the matter of 50 years ago, is really important for the young people to know that, because they can use that past for their own future as their strength to live.
More and more and more Inuit people becoming educated, and graduation rates at high school are increasing every year. I see more and more people moving into government positions. I see more people merging their traditional culture with their current lifestyle and their current culture. I think that there's a lot of hope. I personally love the North and love the people and love the communities, and I'm excited by the changes that are occurring.
Canadians have to know about the history of the Arctic. It's their money that allowed us to live in the new wooden houses in the 1960s and 70s. It's their money that transported all that lumber to northern Canada so that they can build houses for the Inuit. Canadians have to know about the residential schools in Canada. There has to be a much bigger knowledge by Southern Canadians to know the changes that their governments were making in the 1950s and particularly the 1960s and 70s. And one of the values about this film is for all Canadians to get a better idea of what changes were taking place in terms of moving Inuit from an igloo, snow house, to the wooden house in those particular period of time in the 50s and 60s. It's important to know that part of history, because Canadians in southern Canada, south of 60, have to learn more about the original Canadians, such as the Inuit and First Nations for that matter.
There's no doubt about it. Modern life in Inuit communities is incredibly challenging. A territory that not only has undergone phenomenal change, but which faces new challenges, including threats from global warming and realities that affect what is still a hunting culture and a unique way of life that needs to be understood and valued by all Canadians.
That's right. Ta